Hi guys, welcome back to Irish Footy Vlogs. Welcome back to another. This is a European show. Daz is joining me on this one. Daz, first of all, how are you doing?
Yeah, good. Wish Bowles is in this, but I'm sure next season we'll be in a. Well,
Well,
he'd focus on staying in the league this year, and then next year maybe.
that's a fair point, isn't it? You're wearing your
No.
green anyway for Shamrock Rovers, like or is it St.
Oh.
Pat's away? So we'll talk about St. Patrick's League first before we talk about Shamrock Rovers. When we talk about Shamrock Rovers, we're going to be talking about their upcoming fixtures in the Europa Conference League as well, which is very interesting as we know. But Pats obviously went down to Başakşehir, Turkey by 2 goals to nil. 64 minutes, Sayonir scored and Keeman scored in 82 to seal the win for the Turks. Obviously, the first leg was 0-0 at Tallaght Stadium. Pats were unlucky not to nick it 1-0, which might have made this very, very interesting. Um, Ultimately, I think, maybe the kind of fitness levels. I'm not saying the Pats aren't fit, they are fit, but the fitness levels, to be able to play a team like this, on a regular basis, you wouldn't really see it from a League of Ireland club, let's be honest, in that sense. Probably cost them a little bit. Bulger came on and 4 minutes later got a red card. That killed them, and obviously they got the second goal after that. So they're well in the game and well in the tie up to very late here, to be fair to them, weren't they? Istanbul, that's a good Turkish side, to be fair. They've got some very good players like PAOK, etc. Kemen is another one that came on as a sub, actually. Kemen came on as a sub, oh my god. But ultimately, Pats bow out, but I tell you what, they done well and 2-0 over the two legs. It's slightly flattered Istanbul, I thought, a little bit, Daz. What are your thoughts overall of the tie?
Well, I think in general, Pats can bow gracefully. They went very far. I think they actually did very well. I think a lot of credit needs to go to Stephen Kenny, who came back obviously after a hard stint with Ireland, came into Pats, didn't hit the ground running in the league. So there was a lot of pressure on him to start doing well in Europe, and I think he did. I think he set up Pats very well in Europe. There was a few very good performances, like you said. There's a few very good, in my opinion, standout individual performances on the Pats team as well. A few players that did very good. And look, they went very far now, but they fell short. But
Mm.
the standard that they were playing was quite high, and it would be an awful lot higher than what they would face in the League of Ireland. Like so much of a higher standard. Same with Rovers, which we'll talk about obviously in a minute too. But I think if you're a Pats fan, you should be very happy with how far Pats got. I think Stephen Kenny did very well to get them that far. And I actually do think they've set themselves up well to get into
Mm.
good form and push on for the rest of this season and really make a statement towards next season. But ultimately, as a whole, they did well. Obviously, that game where Bulger came on and got a red, I think that really affected Pats. I think they kind of crumbled a little bit after that, maybe. It's never good to get sent off in the game, but to get
It's
sent off
difficult
at
when
such a
you're 1
high,
0 down late in the game. You know you need an equaliser and you're down
no,
to
it's not
10
good.
men.
It's not good. Like it's really stacked against you. The odds are
Mm.
so they're very hard to get a goal in European football, let alone you're down to 10 men and a player gone, and it's getting on in the game. It was very hard. And I think that kind of killed that fixture for them. Really, it was a nasty one, but Pats as a whole did very well, I thought, and they should be very proud and happy of where they went. And I think Stephen Kenny's going to do great things with them, and I firmly believe next season they're going to do very well.
Yeah, I mean they went 5 games unbeaten in Europe, which for any League of Ireland club is a massive it's a massive achievement, isn't it, for any League of Ireland club to do that? Obviously, the two wins against Saba, who knocked out Robbie Keane's former club, Mackay
Yeah,
Hive, and the win against Vaduz, who only a couple of years ago, to be fair, were in the Conference League. So it's a great feat, and even the home tie against Başakşehir themselves, and it's front-footed football generally does as well. Obviously, at times they're under pressure in Turkey and they had to sit in. You're going to expect that, but overall, throughout the European campaign, has been front-footed football, like, and
yeah,
they've performed well.
they weren't afraid to go direct and to
No,
go forward and to put the
yeah.
ball in the box and to take a few shots down here
Mm,
and there. That they didn't really, as you said there, they didn't really sit back much and just soak up pressure
mm,
like historically a lot of teams would have done. Like I know Dundalk kind of would have done that years ago, before they met the Europa League stages, as any Irish team would have done.
mm.
Sat back, soak up pressure, try and nick it. But who wouldn't do that when you're playing such a different opposition? But I think Stephen Kenny's experience played a big part in this campaign for them, and I think Pats were very unlucky not to do something, not to get where they got to get because the money that's in it now is serious. Like if you again, I don't want to touch on Rovers in pass apart, but the opposition Rovers got like Pass could have equally got the same, if not better. Like
Mm.
that's so much money, better players, sponsorship, an awful lot of play here, and it just wasn't to be this year for Pats. But if they can hold this squad together and give Stephen Kenny a good budget, which he will get next season, I'd expect them to get back to where they should be. And
Mm.
look, they can hold their heads up high. I just think they did very well. It's unfortunate for them that they didn't get through.
Yeah, I know. I was looking at a couple of ties there, and there were a couple of sides they could have got that you felt were at a lower level than Istanbul too. Like, and Pats were
Yeah,
playing with a lot of confidence, and maybe it's a pity, even though they were quite close here. Maybe it's a little pity the draw wasn't a little kinder to them in that regard.
yeah. Look, the look of the draw is what they say, isn't it?
Mm,
But you're only as good as your last game, and you can only play who's in front of you. That's what they all say. When
mm,
you beat a minnow, you lose against a minnow, you get a really good team, a really hard team, and ultimately they could have got an easier draw, like anyone could have, but wasn't to be. And you have to beat who's in front of you on the day, and it fell short towards the last one. Unfortunately, last hurdle
mm.
that got them.
Yeah, from my point of view, though, I think the European run has done them well. Obviously, it's a club record, as I said, the five unbeaten, but it's brought the team, I think, together a little bit as well. And you can see some of Kenny's philosophy really starting to come into play as well. The wing play, for example, with Mulroney and El Bazzetti, has been excellent, getting the ball early to the wingers, etc. And Chris Forrester's flourishing in his
Yeah,
system, to be honest with you as well. And you can just see that kind of, as you mentioned, the European experience. I think he's had something like it's over 50 games in Europe he's managed, which is actually crazy when
yeah.
you think about it.
That's a lot.
53
That
or
must be
4.
up there with, yeah, it must be up there with League of Ireland records as well.
Yeah, so
Maybe
yeah, it
I don't know
is, in
how, I don't
fact.
know what it is, but he must be
Mm,
near the top. And
mm. It is the
a
record,
few,
actually, in fact, yeah.
yeah, a few individuals they touched on there,
Mm,
obviously in that past team were very good. Like
mm,
I think El Buzetti was a great coup that Stephen
mm.
Kenny got. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he managed him with the under 21s at
He
the time.
did, yeah.
Yeah, so that obviously might have played a big part in him coming to Pats. I'm sure the likes of Rovers would have been in for him. I'm sure other teams maybe in England and
Mm.
Scotland were in for him, but he got to play European football as well under Kenny, and him and Mulroney on the wings are quite tricky players. They're very good. I know Mulroney goes missing sometimes, in my opinion, but I
Mm.
do think he is overall a very good player, and
He seems to be the
obviously,
player, I have to say, that so far that's really prospered under Kenny, if you like. That kind of way,
yeah,
you know?
he has that spark in him to kind of go a bit
Yeah.
forward and take players on more, and his deliveries to the box are quite good. And yeah, look, I think Stephen Kenny is going to really get him going, and coming in towards good form towards the end of the League of Ireland season too. A lot of points to play for. There's a few teams have games in hands. There's quite different points drops throughout the league. From the top three or four to the next three or four to the bottom 3 and 4. So a lot can happen, and it's a good time to get some form. It's also a bad time to not have form. So
Absolutely, yeah. On the Shamrock Rovers now, and they were obviously beaten 2-0 at home to PAOK of Greece. Odias on 64, Despodov on 75, and obviously the 4-0 defeat in the first leg really ended the tie, to be fair. I
yeah,
do wonder, though, and I said this before, a ball was kicked. Now, it would have been a very difficult task anyway, because PAOK are very, very strong side. I know they played Bowls a couple of years ago, but they're even
yeah,
stronger
it was
now
good.
than um, than they were then, to be honest with you. But I wonder just if Shamrock Rovers thought at the back of their mind a little bit, as I said before, that look, we have Conference League. At least in the Conference League, there'll be winnable matches. This is what I said before the draw. We'll get into that later. The Europa League would have brought maybe a lot of games where they mightn't have been capable of winning any of the games, let's say. Also, they would have
Yeah,
had more games in the Europa League, meaning a shorter pre-season, and financially they don't really gain anything. So I just wonder if that played into their minds as well. If this was a Conference League playoff, I think they might have done better, where they had to try and get through, and they would have been out in Europe otherwise. I think they would have done better than the 6-0 overall. My personal opinion on that, anyway.
yeah. I actually think there's probably two answers to that. I think as a player, like who are you going to rather play? Do you want to play a team with a higher opposition, or do you want to play a team that maybe you could win? Now I know you're
Yeah.
going to want to win every game, but if you could play, I don't know, just a top team from England. But then again, I'll get into this in a minute. Then you have like the Chelsea in this group, like, which is crazy. But there'll be other teams throughout Europe that you'd love to play as a player from the League of Ireland. You're never really going to get a chance to play again. Like a lot of these players at the Shamrock Rovers team are starting to age a little bit, and I think they will
Mm.
start moving out of this squad in the next year or two. or three. Well, obviously there's still, stalwarts in the team. Their quality throughout is unreal. But as a player, you're going to want to play the best opposition you can play, and test yourself at the highest level. But I completely agree with what you said. I think if they did go into the Europa League phase, I'm not sure if many people understand that, because it's quite different in the group stage. It's a bit complicated, but you will become, people will understand it after a while. It's
I'm
basically
not
a
sure
league
if I
phase.
like it yet. I know it's new, but
I like it.
do
I
you
like it.
like it?
But yeah,
Why do you
I think
like it actually?
we're all used to the last 20 years of it being a group stage. You play
Yeah,
everyone home and away, and that's it. It's 4 teams, three opposition. That's it.
yeah.
And it was very simple. As a child, you'd understand that. As an adult, it's hard to understand the league phase. So, like, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Keith, but I think they're playing Chelsea away, but not at home. Am I right in saying that? Yeah. So there's some teams you only play away, teams you only
And
play
not
at
only that,
home.
for example, Chelsea, as an example, don't play the same teams the Shamrock Rovers play.
Yeah, because it's a league phase,
Yeah.
which it's quite different, because if you were a team that didn't get drawn against them, you potentially have an easier path to get through than somebody else.
Mm.
And if that was the harder team, if Chelsea got every easy opponent and Rovers got every hard opponent, you'd be straight away at disadvantage. I know the game's not won on paper completely,
Mm.
you know that, but in the interest of fairness, the group stage, the way it was more fair, because everyone played each other home and away, and it was the same opposition. So it's
Also,
different.
just to throw that in as well, obviously, we'll get to it now, might as well. Obviously, the glamour tie, the group they have is Chelsea, or the group they have, the teams they play, more to the point.
Teams to
They
play,
are
yeah.
Chelsea, obviously, Apoel Nicosia, who's Jack Byrne's old club, Rapid
Yeah,
Vienna, the new Saints
yeah.
from Wales, which is interesting, Borac from Bosnia, and Larne, which is an interesting one from Northern Ireland. Now, they obviously all played them once, as you mentioned before. It would have been, now, if I'm a Shamrock Rovers player, you're delighted to see Chelsea in there because you're thinking the chance to play a club like £1 billion club like Chelsea, and
Stanford,
you're
yeah.
thinking to go to Stamford Bridge, fantastic. If I'm the club, I'm thinking it's a pity it's not at home because
Oh,
it'd be at
yeah,
the Aviva,
massively.
of course, but financially, etc. So the club are probably missing out in terms of playing them home and away in that sense. But as a
Yes.
player, I probably want to play at Stamford Bridge
But
against
then again,
Chelsea.
Key, if it was the group stages, you would be playing them home and away.
Exactly. But then again, if it was a
So,
group stage, would Chelsea be in their group? Of course, that's the other point because they have to play six different teams as we speak. You know what I mean in this particular
yeah.
league phase. But
Mm.
like as mentioned at the start of the show, there, the thing I do like about it is the mix. You got your glamour tie with Chelsea. You've got your winnable games in Larne, I would say Borek and the new Saints, Rapid
Yeah,
Vienna and Abel Nicosia. You could see them winning, beating
yeah.
those teams on their particular day. None of those other teams, in my opinion, are as good as PAOK, for example.
Yeah,
They're
no, yeah.
probably up there with Celtic, who they already beat. So there's five winnable games, I would say, for sure, in the group for Rovers. That's not me saying they're going to win 5 games. They won't win 5 games, but they're five where they can go into and fancy themselves. That's the point, particularly the home matches against Nicosia, the new Saints in particular, and Boric from Bosnia. And obviously, what are the two standout fixtures for you, actually?
Um, Obviously Chelsea, is one. It'd have to be. But I'm going to throw in one here now. I don't think people will agree with this one, but I think Larne Northern Ireland is one for me.
Oh, I'm
It's
with
on
you
the,
there. Yeah,
it's on the same island, but it's a
yeah.
different league. It's been years since a team played them. A Northern Ireland's opposition in Europe or in a competitive league, competitive cup, because the Atlantic Cup is gone like what 10, 12 years now, so it wouldn't have happened. And it's not too often you see friendlies even with a Northern Irish club. So for me, I think it's going to be Larne and Chelsea. I think
Yeah,
they're the standout
agree.
ones. Obviously Chelsea, we all know about them, and Larne would be, it's great for them that they got them. You're on the same island. Easy to scout them, easy to understand them. You should know the level. Shamrock Rovers should be ahead of them. I think it should be
Mm,
quite a winnable game for them.
Oh, it is a
Um, I
winnable game.
actually I also think Bowes fans are going to kill me for saying this now, but I think Shamrock Rovers should be backing themselves against Chelsea. As crazy as that sounds, there's no pressure on Shamrock Rovers to win the match. It's great that they got this far. They can go in there playing pressure free. They're not expected to win. There's no pressure on them, so that could be a banana skin for Chelsea. They're
Well,
going to
the other
look at this
point
and
I
go,
throw in there is that it depends when the fixture is, but Chelsea are likely not to put out their strongest team. Now, of course, even the second team is very
yeah,
difficult for a League of Ireland club,
oh
but that's
yeah,
not my point. they're unlikely to play what's considered their strongest 11. Put it that way.
That's it, like, and Rovers have to go in backing themselves, thinking, we can do something here. But I suppose, again, looking outside the box with the way our league runs, we're at a little bit of a disadvantage. Chelsea are going to be in their season. Rovers are going to finish the season after playing the 8 or 9 games left. They're not going to be playing competitive games, and Chelsea will be, or every other team will be, because Larne, I'm not sure if people are aware or not, they were in the same season fixtures as England, so they're all, going to be playing. Their league has only started, really. I think the last week or two, so they're going to be
They
their
actually,
preseason
while we
gone.
speak here, they haven't played a league game yet either. Their games are all
They haven't played a
postponed.
league game yet.
Yeah, their games are all postponed. For the European games, basically, they got them all postponed. So there were
Oh
three
yes,
games played without them having to play a match yet.
yes. Without them, yes, yes. So they
Yeah.
obviously have a backlog of fixtures, but
Mm.
their season's on.
Yeah.
But I actually think Shamrock Rovers have a very favourable group. I think
Mm.
it's like you said, we kind of discussed this during the week. Me and Keith did, saying they have a mix of everything. You've got a glamour tie in Chelsea, which is great, especially if you're a Rovers fan that likes Premier League or likes Chelsea at the same time. Like, you've got the best of both worlds. You've got the likes of great away trips that's going to be coming up in this in this game. To watch your team play away from home would be great. You've
Notably,
got
they don't have any massive trips. You know what I mean? Like
no, they don't.
far
Yeah,
away Eastern European
yeah,
type
yeah.
trips. They've the two
Yeah.
Eastern European games at home. They've the furthest away is Austria, basically.
Yeah, and obviously Austria is very easy to get to.
Yeah.
There's loads of flights, loads of links and stuff like this. There'll be no Russia, no Kazakhstan, no mad places where you don't even know
Mm.
where they are on the map before you start booking your flight. But but yeah, but no, they mix up the ties. It's great. Like, Larne, Vienna, Chelsea, the teams from Wales. So you don't hear Wales pulling up too many trees in club football. You never really hear about them. I couldn't name more than 3 or 4 teams from Wales, and the ones I probably do know play in England: Cardiff, who else? There's a few others.
Some of them
TNS,
are
I
hard
think
to
they're one.
pronounce.
So yeah, but it's great for Chelsea, and I think they've had a very good group, and I don't really want to wish them luck, but it's great for their fans and great for the league, and I will be watching the matches, and yeah, so good for them.
Yeah, very interesting. We'll leave it there, Daz. Thanks for coming on. Guys at home, let us know what you think of the video overall. Pat's fan, Shamrock Rovers fan. Thoughts, obviously, ahead of Shamrock Rovers' campaign in the Conference League as well. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk to you later.